Welcome to RapBabble, the weekly hip-hop podcast. This week we have another album review, which is Travis Scott, Rodeo. The background to Rodeo to Travis Scott is, he's a fairly new rapper. He's on his second album, which just came out recently. He's not hugely well known, but he's a producer. He's contributed to people's albums in the past, and now he's making a name for himself. He's had 2 mixtapes, I think, and then an album, and now a second one. And he's signed to, this is the strange thing, where he's signed to Kanye West as a producer, but he's signed to T.I. as a rapper. So his albums come out on Grand Hustle, on T.I.'s label. And let's jump in from there. So here we have Rodeo, his first studio album outside of mixtapes. And the front cover, let's start with the front cover, which is a picture of a doll of himself.
There's an action figure.
Yeah. I've never seen that before in hip hop, so he gets points for originality straight away. Alright, so
I think it looks a bit cheesy. I don't like it.
Yeah, I not that, it's quite self-indulgent as well, to have an action figure and then to put it on your album as well. And like, he's wasted an opportunity because it's the picture of the doll on a toy Jeep, but it kind of looks like a photo that someone took themselves in their house just randomly. So this is an album cover, and he's just wasted it, and it doesn't have his name on it at all. So, all right. So tracks. Let's go into the tracks. So my first one is the opening track, Pornography, and.
Okay.
So yeah, I like the interest. I like the intro. I felt it was slow, and a lot of these songs are quite similar, so it's really hard to pick them apart. So I really have to kind of talk about the whole album as a whole when I talk about some of these songs. But I just thought the intro track was great. The T.I. intro was a bit unnecessary. The whole, he's coming from another solar system. Like, I think if you're gonna have that kind of intro, you need to have a story, and Kid Cudi had exactly that. Common was narrating his one, so I didn't really need that. So yeah, but I like the first track. But again, there's not a lot that separates all of these tracks out, so it's really hard to remember what's what. And then there was 3,500, which I felt was more. So the other tracks, they happen to be a bit more gloomy and a bit more kind of surreal and gothic, and this one, even though the chorus had that, the actual verses had bounce in this song, at least 3,500. It had bounce, it was lighter, it had that xylophone sound, but then the chorus, it went back to the usual gloomy side. But maybe he kind of wanted to appease the other rappers who were on this track, which he had Future and who was the other one? 2 Chainz, and I think he needed them on these tracks. He needed them on this track because I just don't think he's a great rapper. So when I hear other people coming along, I'm quite happy, and the beats are good, so it's a good marriage. I'm gonna go back to redo Pornography. I was just listening to it again, and you mentioned off air you mentioned Kid Cudi and how his second album sounds a lot like Kid Cudi, and I was just replaying the first track, and I got that feeling, and I've had that feeling on Yeezus as well. And I had a look, and he's in the credits, Travis Scott of Yeezus, and
production credits or writing credits.
I don't know, probably production, because he signed as a producer, but I don't think I don't know. But this is his sound. So maybe Kanye kind of got Kid Cudi and Travis Scott, and he likes this sound, and he had these 2 artists contribute, because I can hear the Travis Scott sound. Part of it is from Kid Cudi into his music, into Travis Scott's music, but part of it's also been transferred to Yeezus. Yeezus was a really dark album. It was really gloomy, and this album is kind of an extension of that.
But so, I wouldn't say. Are you talking about Rodeo now?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Rodeo is as industrial hip hop as Yeezus was.
There's a similarity. They may not be. Maybe it's not an extension, but they remind me of each other.
They were influenced.
Yeah,
One was influenced by the other.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they're like, and just I feel like there was a similar mentality to making both of those albums, and yeah, they both had the same guy helping out. So yeah, Pornography had that. The first track, at least, is called Pornography, but that had that feeling for the first slow part, and then when it went to the second part, it sped up and it felt like traditional rap, and I liked the second part as well. Um, but that first track is already telling a lot about the album. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on those. Those are my first two tracks. So what are your two tracks? Let's do two
Um,
at a time.
3500 was on my list as well.
Perfect.
Uh, I said Future's voice is a perfect match with the beat, and also like the breakdown of the beat at the end, because I think Travis Scott knew that he's got a good beat on his hands, so he just played it until the end of the track and just carried on and on. So then slowly quieted it down. My next favorite track is Piss on Your Grave.
I kind of liked it and didn't like it. I was torn on this one. Go on.
Alright. I've got some quick facts about Piss on Your Grave. So it was supposed to feature Sir Paul McCartney from the Beatles, and it was meant to be on the life of Pablo. But the track is very aggressive in its nature, and it's talking about the white executives that run the world. And I think that it's got Kanye West and Travis Scott got this perfect marriage. It's a very short track. Each person does one verse each, and it's short and to the point. That's what I really like about it. And the music video was really good as well. It's quite an interesting music video.
It's really sharp. From what I remember of it, it's so
That's
sharp.
what I really like about it. It's really sharp, short, and to the point, and it gets the message up.
And just even the delivery of the lines, like I like it when rap has emotion in it and there's feeling and they're really pushing it. And I felt that from that when I watched the video. Next track.
My next track will be "I Can Tell" towards the end of the album. You don't see this a lot from Travis Scott, but on "I Can Tell" he kind of opened up a bit more about himself and his past, where he's talking about how he used to create music in his mother's basement, but it was actually the attic, and it was quite interesting. And talking about his mum who used to work for AT&T, and then he got kicked out, and then I think he dropped out of college and then got kicked out because they didn't agree with that. So I really like that about Travis opening up about his past.
Yeah, nice. I like the with the beat again. I'm going to call it a xylophone. I don't know what it is, but you can hear that sound. I mean, maybe this is part of his sound, because it's a good idea to use the same sound all the way through to keep it consistent. So there's that, and I did like the chorus as well. Like he has quite a few choruses that really stick in your head. As for the lyrics, and I'll get into this later, but for me it's hard to engage with his lyrics and to grab my attention. I ended up just kind of listening to the beats only and not to the lyrics, which is a shame, because I think there is actually more than I initially thought. But he doesn't seem to write stuff that really captures my attention, and I think maybe you need to make it stand out more from the beat. I know that there are some rappers who actually really kind of almost bury their verses in the beat. I don't know if it's the executives or what, but you get to a point where you just wait for the chorus. Essentially, this is what I did for this entire album. I just kind of waited for the choruses. But he's better than, like, after listening to this many times, I think of more of him as a rapper in the later listens. So I think I'll go back and have a listen to the lyrics. What do I have as well? Let me see. I liked Nightcrawler.
Oh, that's a really good track.
Yeah, another dark, gloomy one. Yes. And I like dark and gloomy, so I was happy to hear this. And it had Sway Lee from Ray Shremmerd.
Yeah.
And I like his choruses. I like a lot of the things he does, and I think he works really well. He sounds really different to normal, though. It's hard to describe, but he's not his usual party self. He's made an effort to fit in with the music. So I liked this song quite a lot, Nightcrawler. I have Flying High as well. I liked the bounce in the beat, and I liked
I
the
found
chord.
that track too repetitive.
Wow. Yeah, I noticed a couple of times. There was another chorus actually, which just goes on over and
Yeah.
over again. So yeah, but
My last
yeah.
and final track that I really liked was "Oh My Decide,"
Okay.
featuring Quavo. Yeah.
From Migos.
Yes.
That's number two, track two. Okay.
Yeah. Track two. It's just classic Travis where he does a beat change in the middle of the track, and I really like. That's kind of like Travis's signature thing to do on a track. So I really like that about that track.
Okay, we've kind of gone through them pretty quickly. I know that I definitely have because I've got a lot of opinions on the album in general and less on the individual songs because let's get into the overall review of the overall album.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm glad that this album has a lot to say for the overall. Whereas
Mm.
other albums, you kind of just talk about five of the best tracks and then you just kind of there's not much to say of overall. But
Mm.
Travis Scott is he's a bit of an enigma. He's interesting, he's fascinating, but he's not brilliant, but he's not terrible. There's talent there, and I like he made an album with one sound. It is deep, it's gloomy, and he has a lot of potential. So I love the sound. But then on the other side, I'm not interested in. Oh, I didn't mention Antidote. Oh,
Oh.
I forgot to mention Antidote. I was obsessed with that song when it came out. Firstly, wow. It was a bit like the lyrics were a bit of a letdown. It could be a bit slow at times, but Antidote, I just remember repeating that over and over again. I was a big fan of Antidote, and I didn't realize the rapping was him until I saw the video. But yeah, anyway, going back to so I don't like him as a lyricist because I think he doesn't grab my attention. So, and there is a bit more there. But I'll need to I have to do the legwork to listen to it. It doesn't grab me, which is disappointing. So that's like a knock against him. But he's not a terrible rapper. He's just not, he's kind of neutral. I'd give him a rating of 0 on a scale of minus 100 to 100. He kind of gets a neutral because yeah. But he does excel in, like he reminds me of producers, rap groups or rappers who do albums with one producer only. Because he has one sound here, and I think he's brilliant at doing that. If he got a great rapper, I think they should just skip Travis Scott completely, make him the executive producer, get a good rapper, put them together. They would be perfect. Right, what do you think?
I like Travis Scott more in his mixtape era. I think him going professional and going to a studio and having a label has kind of taken the life out of his music because in his mixtapes, they didn't have one uniform sound, and I really like that actually because he was able to show variety and show the depth to his skill. For example, Al Faro, I think his first mixtape, I really enjoyed, and I kind of like that rough and cut finish to that mixtape. And because this is a studio album, it needs to it goes through quality control and then make sure that the tracks are nice and clean, and then like there's one uniform sound throughout it. It just feels kind of dead to me.
Okay.
I feel like Travis Scott's heart isn't in it. The true Travis Scott.
Don't sign to a record label then. That's the advice.
Yeah.
Are the lyrics any different in terms of quality?
The lyrics aren't any different. No.
Okay.
He's still talking about the same things, but it's just about the beats and the tracks and how they fit together.
Okay.
It doesn't gel with me just because Al Faro really didn't make an impression on me, and it was the first mixtape I listened to of his, and it was the first one that I said, "Oh wow, I need to start following this guy and seeing what he does." So yeah. If I listened to Rodeo, for example, if Rodeo was his first mixtape, I wouldn't really pursue any further interest with this artist.
Yeah, yeah, this album wasn't. It was a little bit of work to have to listen to it, and the songs didn't stick out in my mind, so I did have struggle to remember which one was which. And even though they had one sound, they kind of, in some ways it's good, but in some ways it's bad because they mesh together. So it's hard to remember which one's which. So that's not good. But I'm more fascinated in Travis Scott and what he can do, especially work he can do for other people. I think he should just. It'd be good if he works for other people, or other people feature on his songs. I mean, he's not even a producer on his album, but I think of him as an executive producer because he put these people together, and he got people to make this sound for him. So these people they probably produce other sounds, just generally their own sound, and they make traditional rap, and then somehow he's managed to get these sounds from them for his album, and they all sound consistent. So there's a lot to be said for executive producers. They make a big difference, and if you can get someone who can make your album sound great, I just want someone to bring the lyrics, and that's it. So, but he's going to continue rapping. Once you have the chance, you're not going to stop, even if you say nothing. So I'll just have to wait for his collaborations, I think.
And I guess people like him. I think he's very good at live performances as well. He's very much like Designer, where he jumps about on the stage and has lots of energy and all that kind of stuff. So I think he's very good at touring and doing concerts.
Okay.
So he's got that for him as well.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed though, he doesn't have a lot of likability I don't hear anyone. I hear people talking about him. I've heard his name a lot of times, but I don't feel anyone's excited about him. He feels like a bit of an outcast. And he feels like he's kind of unhappy as well. He's not like other rappers where he's trying to grab the mic from everyone's hand and tell you how amazing they are, and they have lively music. Like, this is someone who kind of shies away from the camera. I think we have a new age of rapper actually, which has more of this type. But he's not like the other rappers. And one telling fact is the fact that he puts so much effort into his music, because this is not like Future, where he'll produce another mixtape every other month, and so it's just disposable. I looked at his catalog. He's made one project per year. He's got 2 mixtapes, 1 album, and then the second one just came out. So he's taking his time with this stuff. So I'm really fascinated by the person and perfectionists and what his potential is, but I'm not interested in his album so far or his features. But yeah, there's potential there. He's going to be around for a while. I think he's going to be around for as long as he wants to be, because he's quality. So overall, I'd give the album a 7. It's not terrible, but
exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a good mediocre album.
Yeah, nothing really special, nothing that stands out. But it's not bad, and he has talent to him. So, and the next one's already out. So,
yes, with a massively long name.
Anyway, that's all we have for you this week. We'll be back next week with another album review. See you then.